Good morning, everyone, and we got stuff flying around here. Steve leaves. They're going to try new things here, make us look bad, so Steve looks good. And I have become your humble host. I'm always humble. I'm Dale Hellestrae. This is Uncle Lou, who made a very, very nice gesture and came in early on his Thursday. Good morning, Lou. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dale. I'm always tickled to be here today on the extended platform.
Yes.
Should be great. Knowing that I was coming, I actually undertook a little due diligence, and I watched the second half of that basketball game last night, which, it's the final.
Right.
So I'm somewhat interested to see how it looked and how it played out, and I'll tell you what was it, 6 minutes left? It's all San Antonio. Next thing you know, the Knicks win game one. A very interesting game, and I've listened to the VSiN people talk about it this morning on the radio, so I'm here to talk about it with you because I actually watched and have an opinion or two.
We got that. We got the College World Series. We got the fight game. We got football. When don't you have football? It's like we always get worried as talk show hosts. Come June, July, gosh, it kind of slows down once basketball's over. How many times can you talk about the Diamondbacks on a Tuesday night game and all that? But, the football tends to keep you talking about them, whether it's mistakes players make, trades that are going down, all those things. So we get into that. I got to take you behind the scenes a little bit. I reached out to Lou over the this past weekend, and said, hey, Steve's got prior engagement. You mind coming in a little bit early? I'll come in and do it because it was either that or we go dark. Lou was kind enough to come in and say, I will come in early. His text said, I'll be there about 8:05. You said I could be there by 8:05.
I said if I'm 5 minutes late, don't stress.
Right.
Knowing that I haven't been 5 minutes late for anything since I was born.
So he said, by the way, that 5 minutes late is Bill Parcells' time, meaning I'm going to be 10 minutes early. And we started off our morning with me pulling into my covered parking space and some renegade truck racing to pull up in front of me so I can't get into my covered spot. And that's how we started our day with Uncle Lou messing with me this morning.
I'm a practical joker. I love to jack with my friends.
Yes.
However, because Dale and I, we're friends and friendly, but we're, he hasn't been to my house nor I his, and that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to take the parking spot. I wanted him to see me in it and then pull aside. So now he knows I'm just a lighthearted guy, likes to have fun. And I told him that in my contract with Steve, Finicaro was supposed to be printed on the curb so that I could park there. Steve hasn't put that on the curb yet. We're going to have to talk about that in future negotiations.
How about instead of Finicaro, he just puts Lou? That's a little easier.
That's how I do it on the phone with all the texts. Spell that last name, Fino, F-I-N-O.
So everybody understands Lou comes in every week that he's in town, and a lot of times when he's out of town on Thursdays with Steve from 9 to 10. There's a few Thursdays that I'm here. Sometimes I feel like I'm screwing it up when I'm here because they got a nice chemistry and all that. But you got an hour and 45 minutes of Lou and I. If he's got to cut out a little bit early, we'll deal with that. But looking forward to the entire day. Lou even watched the sports other than his babies, which, again, are hockey, college baseball, and football.
And
UFC. The fight game.
But we are going to get to talk about a little NFL today, and that's what I don't get enough time trying to peel back on Dale. Because for many reasons, mostly because behind the locker room door and huddle stuff, that's really sacred.
Yeah.
But for outsiders, you're always trying to find some of that. We don't get enough of that from you, so we'll go back and forth when the time comes for us to talk about what's going on in recent NFL news.
Because I will forget about it, so I'm going to bring it up right now. We'll jump around a little bit. Won't be as smooth, and we don't have segment A, B, C, D. But let's start with the NFL. Let's touch on the trade. The Browns to the Rams. You got Myles Garrett, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. And I have some questions for you, but it just jumped into my mind. My Dallas Cowboys in 1992, we were an up-and-coming team. We had Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, but everybody was young.
That's right, from Jimmy's trade.
Yes. Do you remember a defensive end that we traded for in 1992?
That was part of that trade?
No, it was a standalone trade.
We
traded for Charles Haley.
Oh, from San Fran,
Yeah.
right.
And a troublemaker in San Francisco, they were done with him. Jimmy makes a trade figuring he can kind of corral him a little bit, and he did.
And he was dead right.
And he did. And Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, all those guys would say, we don't win a Super Bowl if we don't have Charles Haley on our defense.
I've heard that, yes.
Because he was a difference maker. And before we get into the Myles Garrett, because I've got so many thoughts about it. I love what the Rams did. I love you're 2 plays away from going to the Super Bowl. Hey, that's not good enough. Where 98% of teams are going to go, gosh, we're so close. We can run it back. We don't have to do anything different. And no, we're going to try and get better. That's awesome, whether it works or not.
Cornerback, rush end, and we've talked about the importance of those positions.
Yes. And so when we talk about doing that trade, when Charles Haley came to the Cowboys, because my question to you before we get into the particulars of it was when you see that, and I know you're not a fan, you might be a fan of a couple little teams, maybe at University of Arizona and things like that, but
not even.
But when you see a trade like that, I'm always curious, what does that do when you're trying to handicap the season? And you're not making any picks right now, but you see arguably the best defensive player in the league at a very premium position get traded to the Rams. What initially goes through your mind or the minds of gamblers?
What went through my mind? Number one, Rams are looking at right now, and Cleveland's looking to build. That's the initial thought. Thought two, the Rams are getting a guy past his prime. Maybe has another prime year, but he's 30-some, and he's had a lot of work in the NFL before him. So they got 2 or 3 years with him, but they're only counting on one. Now you got Donald talking about coming out. The layer number 3 is the photo I saw of what's the player's name from the Browns?
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. They showed a photo of him. There's never been a defensive end in the history of the NFL that looks like that guy. Yeah. That dude is and when you see him play with, you don't even need to see his body.
No.
You can just see him with the clothes on. What he does is freakish.
Right.
So those are my NFL thoughts. How much are the Rams going to get from him? The Browns finally, for once, are doing the right thing. The problem is they're getting all this cash of draft choices, and then they're going to spit up on themselves because they don't know what to do with them. So now let's talk about the gambling aspect of it. It's the dry desert in Arizona here, and that's what it is in the sports world, because when this hockey and NBA series is over, it's baseball. I get real popular because of UFC. There's nothing to talk about in the NFL. Shadow each summer grows bigger and bigger. And so people are so starved for gambling that this Myles Garrett to L.A., yes, it affected the numbers, and it affected it immediately. The people that had L.A. to win the Super Bowl at 7 or 8 to 1 beforehand are all giddy because now it's 5 to 1. And so my thought is, and why is it 5 to 1? Because of the tsunami of people that are followers that listened to the news and thought, wow, the Rams look pretty good, I better go bet it. And by the time they got to it, ain't 7 or 8 anymore. It's 5 or 6 and going down, and they take it now. So that forces me to understand exactly what's happening. And now my search is, who's going to beat the Rams?
Right.
It's the same as it was hockey this year. Who's going to beat the Avs? And they laughed at me. Oh, the Avs, they're a truck, they're a train, no one's stopping them. Where are the Avs? Oh, they got swept. So this is sports. and you have to look for your opportunity. So there's no opportunity in anything for LA. They could well win it, but I'm looking who's going to beat them. Well, they got the returning Super Bowl champions in their same division, and they're not going to curl up and just say, yeah, Rams, you were close. We'll give it to you this year. That ain't how it works. And everybody's talking about the Cardinal demise. I'm not so sure about it. They're going to have a lot of new stuff, but they're all pros getting paid trying to win. So that's really what I think. The result of it is my thought process is that little news like this affects the betting market way too much in overreactions this time of year. And as long as it's a no or an against, I'm not afraid to make a bet at this juncture in the season if I can find something no or something against. Because if I look at the Rams, I can tell you this about the Rams. They're surely deserving favorites, but they're fragile favorites because it isn't Myles Garrett I'm worried about, and it isn't the other kid, Donald, coming back. It's Matt Stafford gets a concussion, and all of a sudden things change really, really big in L.A. And last year they didn't even know if he was going to start the season. So I think I'm on the right track finding someone that's going to oppose L.A.
Or do you think last year they knew Stafford was going to come back, but they played that up pretty good?
I think it's entirely possible, absolutely. But I know this. If Stafford can't play, there ain't nothing they're going to be able to do about that.
That's very true. It's fascinating to me the way that Lou will think of things the way that I think of things. Let's talk about the division that the Cardinals are in. Obviously, the Cardinals are the local team, unfortunately. I mean, I think you can throw Cardinals, Browns, Jets into a blender and press frappe, and it'll all come out the same.
And get nausea.
It'll make you sick when you try and drink it. Here's the thing about the NFC West, and it goes through cycles, and it's been the NFC North in the past. It's been the AFC East in the past. So it's cyclical, but last year, this year, probably next year, it's going to be the NFC West because of Seattle, because of the Rams. And don't forget about San Francisco. They won double-digit games last year, losing everybody to injury, which usually doesn't happen 2 years in a row when you're talking about
it. Usually doesn't. They've had some terrible luck with that.
And then you wore their colors today, the local team, the Cardinals. The thing I can't get over, Lou, is, and I keep saying this to myself, and I'll say it to anybody who listens, the Cardinals finished last in the division. They finished 9 games out of third place. Not second place, this is not like you're in baseball, you're 9 games behind the leader.
There's a gap.
9 games behind the third place team. And they make the coaching change and all that. And while the Rams, who are a couple plays away from going to the Super Bowl last year, are looking at ways to make their team better and get Myles Garrett to come out to L.A., the Cardinals are sitting here with their backup quarterback, or their, I guess now starting quarterback, who won 1 game last year, went 1-11, holding out for more money. Just the talk about it from your mind, the organizational positions that these two teams are in right now. Because that's the thing, the stark raving madness of you won 3 games last year. This quarterback won 1, and he's holding out for more money, which he has every right to do. But that's the way this organization operates. And then you got the other team who went to Seattle, almost made it to the Super Bowl, and they're getting better. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, each of those teams, LA and Arizona, are starting at way different points. From the player's perspective, I don't blame Brissett a bit. I think he earned it. And he didn't start the whole season, by the way. He only started a few games at the end. From what I saw, he's the best option they have. By them not paying him, they're not committing to him. He wants a little commitment. Okay, so you have that throwing a bad shadow over either either the Cardinals needed to make another move at quarterback and quell this thing immediately, or they needed to pay Brissett as opposed to letting the thing fester and smolder. In my opinion,
Right.
That's just me. When the Cardinals first came here, I was convinced that the new young Michael Bidwell was way, way different than the dad and the grandfather. And I had the chance through various opportunities to just meet him at functions. I don't know him or anything, but I got to meet him. And I was always very impressed with him. And early on, it looked like he had a good fix on things. The Steve Keim August DUI, at that point in time, something happened to the Cardinals, and they've not been able to recover from it. They've been a spiraling plane hitting the ocean ever since that episode. And I think part of it is because they didn't fire that gentleman as soon as that happened.
Yep.
But again, I'm not a GM. I'm a sports handicapper. But those are my thoughts, and I think Arizona has to have some continuity at the ownership level. It looks like the Bears have found some, but don't be fooled. They don't have it, and it ain't going to last long what happened last week.
Now, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, the Bears have hosted Uncle Lou at Super Bowls
Yes.
and SEC championship
No,
games.
I'm friends with ownership.
Yeah.
That's how I have with a minority ownership.
Yeah.
And I've been more critical of them since the 85 Super Bowl than anyone because, quite honestly, I know as much or more than anyone about how the insides of that thing
Right.
work. Great philanthropists for the city, without a question. Unbelievably ethical human beings that contribute to the benefit of society, without question. Their record speaks for itself, but they're not able to run an NFL franchise, period.
What's fascinating to me is when you brought up Michael Bidwell, and it's like I'm so far past it now because it just. And I've always said this, you've been out in the business world too, Lou. Everything starts at the top. If the top's rotten, it is really, really hard for second or third level management to overcome that. It's happened, but it's hard.
Right, and then they poach the people away because they aren't getting paid or realized.
Right, but here's what because I too thought when Michael Bidwell took over, was my reasoning. If I'm a fan of a team, I want my owner to be cocky, arrogant. I want my owner to want to win. And I thought for sure Michael Bidwell would be that guy. He wants to walk into Ocean Club. He wants to walk into popular bars. And people go, Michael! Hey, get him a drink on me. And girls
that was
swarm
happening
all
for
over.
a while.
And somehow, some way, that's dissipated. And I don't think he's gotten married, but in regards, not even girls, just he wants to be
Community.
Yes, and the fans. He wants fans, and I want what do you think about Jerry Jones or not? All the stuff that went on lately, that's fine. But back in the '90s, he had an arrogance about him, and he was cocky,
A swagger.
but he wanted to win. And that's all I want from my owner, and it just does not seem like in the last 5, 6, 7 years that this is a serious franchise. And I guess you could probably just say it's easy as, well, they've tried to get quarterbacks in here, taken a couple in the top 10, whether it be Rosen or Murray or whatever, and they just haven't worked out. So is that a talent evaluation, whatever? But it's sad to me for those people who want so bad in the Valley to like the Cardinals and be fans of something. And I'm sorry, you can't just trot out 3-win teams now in 17-game schedules and expect people to keep showing up.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't look at it from the fan point of view.
Right.
So this is all refreshing and new. It all makes total sense to me. I would. Can I shed any positive light on things? The only thing I can say, again, just like I'm looking at L.A., I think the opposite when I look at Arizona is, the Cleveland and the Jets aren't great company. They sure don't have to do much to rise from that, and so I'm going to be looking for any way to find some rays of sunshine in the Cardinals when I do my research in July. When my research is done, I'll tell you if I found anything.
Well, you might have to spend extra time on that.
Well, we'll see. The good news is it's the first team I'm going to assess alphabetically.
You go alphabetically. So tell me this: are you going to change the order of your teams when you're breaking them down and move Chicago from Chicago to Hammond, Indiana? Are you going to go from the C to the H? Since they're moving here,
interesting. No, because they'll still call them. They won't be the Hammond Bears.
They can't be.
No, but for them to move to a cesspool and an area that's really toxic is perfect because that's the city. How's that, Chicago?
Oh, there you go. I like that.
I'm just saying.
So we got plenty of time to talk about football and all that. You watched basketball last night. Here's what I love about sports. I had last night's game nailed, Lou. For the last 3 days since San Antonio clinched and moved on in a 7-game series against the previous champions, Oklahoma City, and the Knicks are sitting at home for 10 days. I tell anybody who would listen, I've been in those locker rooms where you're going out to practice and the coach says, we're practicing at game speed, all right? Full go, full speed, hitting, tackling, running. It's not ever game speed when you practice. You can't. You can't duplicate 80,000 fans. You can't duplicate, this is going to be on tape. You can't duplicate the importance of it. None of that you get ready for 17 times a year. It's like, I've heard other people say it better than I could have ever said it, but I use it now. You don't pay me to play in the game. You pay me for the off season and the weeks of practice.
Yes.
The games are free.
They're fun.
Because I enjoy the snot out of getting up on a Sunday morning and
hitting your routine.
Yes. But I had so here's New York sitting at home for 10 days. They clinched. They swept the previous team, and San Antonio played till Saturday. I'm like, there's no way New York wins this first game. There's no way because you can't duplicate that in practice. What the San Antonio Spurs were going through in real games.
For 3.5 quarters, you were dead ass right.
And sure enough, I was wrong.
For 3.5 quarters, you were right.
Right. And so, whether it's your conditioning, whether it's, you run sprints in practice, in football, in basketball.
Hockey.
Yeah, hockey. You don't do it in baseball because every player I see is out of breath.
College they do, but not pros. They're all fat.
I mean, you hit a double and you see these guys, you gasp. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Take a little shot at baseball. But you got to tip your hat to the New York Knicks because everybody was saying, how on earth are they going to match up with San Antonio and this freak of a show in Wemby and all these young kids who are powerful and strong and athletic and all that. And that's what they did. They came out and won game 1 in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing. It's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a great series, but that was a big win for them last night.
Big win for them. 7-game series, however.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to voice is what I heard on the network, VSiN, this morning. As I'm up early, I listen to all the shows. And so I get my NBA opinions from some of the guys that speak about NBA that handicap it like I handicap my sports. I mean, just by watching one game, I don't know anything about the NBA, but these guys do. And their sentiments were, we bet San Antonio at the beginning of the series, and we've already bet them in the series coming back.
Really?
So they're not daunted by the Knicks. They think if the Knicks were going to win a road game, it would be this one. I tend to agree with the rest. I can't believe and they didn't have legs until the last 6 minutes of the game. They had legs. But
right.
Be that as it may, these guys are still bullish on San Antonio. And San Antonio, a favorite now, is an underdog, I think, for the series.
Okay.
And if that's the case, I may have to get involved before game 2 and just put just a little fun something on San Antonio to come back and win the series because I play this stunt in hockey all the time. Listen, these games and these series go 4-2, 4-3. So nobody says they're going to sweep the other team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think New York is going to sweep San Antonio. And San Antonio's at home in a second game they need. If they do tie it and go back to the Knicks 1-1, then the thing's still close to a pick.
Right.
Comes back to San Antonio 2-2, however. Now San Antonio's a big favorite.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of reasons for me to like the strategy of taking the 0-1 team. And in this case, the favored team lost. It's set up perfect to get him as an underdog and maybe consider that. I have to think I might consider that.
What's always fascinating to me is, again, I think you get it from the mental part of an athlete. When New York was on the plane flying down to San Antonio to get ready to play these first couple games, if you would have said, you don't have to get on the plane, and we'll go one, you'll go 1-1.
You take it.
Yep, we'll just wait till game 3 back
Let's
here
go.
in New York. That mentality, there's no way. There's a way, but I'm saying there's no way they win game 2.
It's hard to overcome what you've done in game 1. Now, just in hockey last series, everyone thought that, but Vegas took a 2-0 lead in Colorado, so it can happen. There's got to be reasons. In Colorado's case, they were decimated by injury, and nobody saw that. In this basketball case, outside of some kids got a bad pinky, I hear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
outside of that, everybody's healthy, so it may not come to fruition. We'll see.
It's just fascinating, but I get the Knicks, no matter what the coach says, no matter what the owner says, they've accomplished their goal already. Right. They're not going to play nearly as desperate as San Antonio in game 2 because they got the job done already.
I tend to think that's the case.
And so we'll see how it plays out.
You're talking about human nature stuff here.
Yes, your mental part, and you are satisfied, and that's the worst part of being an athlete is when you're satisfied.
And they want to go 2-0.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they want to.
Yes.
But there's a lot of things I want too.
Yes. You want to be 6'4".
That's right.
Yeah.
And svelte with a tennis serve.
So it's fascinating. Well, as I said, we're going to jump around this first hour. You brought up hockey. What I heard, and I'm not into hockey nearly as much as you and Steve Harr and all that, I heard it was a collision course, Colorado, Carolina. I heard it at the start of the playoffs, and it was going that way. And then all of a sudden, this little Vegas team, who 9 games before the season ends goes, you know what? We're going to fire our coach. Fire your coach 9 games before the end of the season?
Yeah.
9 games.
Yes, sir.
And they go into the playoffs, and they win a series. They win another series. Now they're going up against the vaunted Colorado Avalanche. Now, again, I don't know about all the injuries.
Uh-huh.
But I know going into the series, people were still picking Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
And not only does Vegas beat them, but they sweep them.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen?
It happens that Colorado in their first series played the Kings, and if you remember, every score was 2-1 or 1-0.
Okay.
The Kings beat the crap out of the Avs.
Physicality.
Beat them bloody.
Okay.
And then the next series they have to go against their division rival, the Minnesota Wild, also a large, fast, heavy team. And Minnesota continued to beat them up. You saw McCollum miss a few games. There were indications that there was cracking in the glass and the ice was getting thin, but nobody really saw it. And then Vegas comes in, who really had an easier path, the Ducks and someone else. And so Vegas comes in heavy with momentum, new coach Tortorella. Should we be surprised they'd fire their coach 8 games left of the season? No, because the Vegas ownership group, this is their 3rd Cup final in 7 years of existence, has proven itself to be aggressive and want to win.
Right.
And that's what they did. They bring Torts in. You gotta regard him. And now you have Vegas where they are. And I would have told, my position was the 7-day, 6-day rest for Vegas before this series was going to hurt them, especially in game 1. Well, Vegas won game 1 on the road. Oh, by the way, we had Vegas. By the way, that was a win for us. And so my perspective on this series is we're in the Cup Finals. We have Carolina 2 to win 4, and we have Vegas 2 to win 4. So I don't really give a hoot who wins the series. My clients have won 2 units no matter who wins this series. I'm playing it game by game, and game by game so far this year, we stand 39-31 plus 8.5 units, 20% ROI. So I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing right now. We'll be on Vegas again tonight, and that's because they opened at 143. I just checked them this morning. They're 146. And before they drop the puck, because everybody going to be on Carolina because they need the game and everything else, I'm just going to follow my 39-31 and take Vegas. By the way, I have not made one home team bet this year in hockey. Those are all road
really
bets, every single one. We also have some, besides that cup, we got Stankoven to win the Conn Smythe. He's a star for, we have him 19-1. The goalie for Carolina, who didn't show too well first game. Freddie, we got him at 29-1. We got Hart, the goaltender for Vegas, 75-1. And Marner, who's going to win it should Vegas win the cup, at 12-1. So I've got some Conn Smythe availability here. We're going to hit these games, and road teams are going to continue to outperform home teams. Oh, by the way, road teams, 41-36 so far this year in the NHL playoffs. That's why Uncle Lou bets road teams. And the other reason I bet road teams is because they start out priced at plus 120, and the bookmakers know the day before when they post the line, hey, the people are going to come in on the home team, better put it high.
Right.
So they put it high, 120. And by the time they drop the puck, it's 130. So it still goes up. That's a tsunami wave of public bets betting where they shouldn't be betting. And so I'm simply going the other way.
That's it's fascinating. How, I'm going to say this for after the break, and so I'm going to give you a chance to think about it for a second. Number one,
I need that.
How can a coach come in with 9 games left and seemingly change the entire way, the entire direction of the franchise from the first 72 games? And secondly, Steve and I have talked about it. I want to get your thoughts, so I'm giving you a chance to think. Of the 4 major sports, which leader has the most influence over what happens? Football, basketball, hockey, baseball. Which manager/coach has the most influence over winning and losing in a game? Give you a chance to think about that. He's Uncle Lou. I'm Dale Hellestrae. You can see the gears grinding. You can see the gears grinding in Uncle Lou's mind. Take a short break. We'll be right back with more Main Event. Without the star of the show, Steve, what's his last name? Steve McCollum. He'll be back tomorrow, and Lou filling in for him. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Dale Hellestrae. I can't say I can't say 3-time Super Bowl champion Dale Hellestrae. That sounds really weird. I'm Dale Hellestrae.
It's the truth, though.
That's Uncle Lou, kind enough to come in early today to sit with me and chat about other things besides the fight game, and we'll be into that in the 9 o'clock hour like he always is. And, of course, Steve is going to, debut something new when he's not here. So I have to try and read a screen that's halfway across the room. I think I can read it. This is on the YouTube chat area. Robert says, "Good morning, fellas. We can pass on the D-backs talk." Obviously, last night was not a good night if you're a D-backs fan.
Well, if you took Ohtani because you know he's after the Cy Young, it was a good night.
Again, always going to have a contrarian view over here. Vegas could possibly fire Torts 9 games into next season. He's an acquired taste.
And that's something one of the questions you talked to me about, I'll just talk about just for a second. When Torts came in and Vegas hired him, Torts is a Parcellsian, Saban-like coach. You can see from his interviews, he's that same guy. I value Torts being in the NHL now because I love just watching him in an interview. He's as surly and curt as Parcells and Belichick. And that's like watching Picasso paint for me. But what was surprising to me at the time, and I didn't know if it would work, was because the guy they got rid of, Cassidy, is a fire and brimstone, white knuckle coach. That's what Torts is. How do you usually, when you get rid of a fire and brimstone, you bring in a guy that powders everybody's rear ends and they fall in love and it works well. And then after a couple of years, everybody, drinking and showing up late for practice, they bring in a guy to kick people's ass. And that's what Torts does. But Torts came in and he said right away, listen, this other coach is really a good coach. This team here has nothing but winners on it. I'm going to get out of the way. We're just going to talk about a few things. And he, I believe, did what he said. He's a veteran coach now. I think he just talked to these guys, and these guys, from everything I read from my people in Vegas, needed a different voice in the locker room. The management was deft enough to understand it, did it, look where they are. You can't argue with their success.
So they signed him as he's an interim coach. And by the way, we looked at it yesterday. I think he'll be the fourth. If he wins it, he'd be the fourth coach to come in as an interim coach and win a championship. 3 of them were in hockey, and I don't remember the years. I think 2009, and there's a couple interim coaches went on to win Stanley Cup. And one in baseball.
One might have been St. Louis. That might have happened in St. Louis.
And Jack McKeon with the Miami Marlins, I think, came in midway through the season, took over, and they won the World Series. So it's great, and I guess I'll catch up here. According to Steve, who is getting ready for court, I don't know why he's listening to the show. He says Vegas is a plus 136 on DraftKings right now.
Right. And that means shop around because they're 146 in a lot of other places. Okay. Shop around.
Okay. And then he also says, to be fair, he has it on his computer all the time. And I sit over here and look like a knucklehead. So I'm here as the eye candy.
That's right.
From most shows, I'm just here to look good, and I can talk a little bit.
They said that their shirt would be a little lower cut, but I'll look past it.
So when we went to the break,
yes, sir.
And I think it's a fascinating discussion.
I was trying to sidestep that question.
And you sit down and the 4 major sports. I'm not going to get into soccer or WNBA or anything like that, although WNBA is basketball. The 4 major sports: football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Each of them have a head coach / manager,
right.
/ skipper, whatever you want to call them. They all have one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a general question because you can say, well, this guy is more important to that team than this guy. But in general,
in theory, sure.
Which head coach, we'll just say head coach because that covers them all, has more of an influence on the outcome of a game than the other one?
To answer that question, influence on the outcome of a game, I have to go basketball.
Really?
Yeah, I have to because all the timeouts and the sport, and there's how much communication there is between coach and team constantly throughout the whole of the game. In football, it's all preparation as well. That's a business pyramid where you ideally have a CFO with coaches that are delegated into certain areas. And the baseball manager is surely important, but as they get away from National League ball and they go to, the Players Union wins and everybody has DH now, then there's a little less managing, and I take some away for that. They do it the night before and they post it. And then what's the other
hockey?
Sport? And then in hockey, there's some timeouts in hockey and everything, but like Torts says, that's why they have skate outs every morning. They go through what they're going to do. They get themselves mentally ready. I mean, if after 82 games in a season, now you're in the playoffs, you don't know what to do in hockey, you're in big trouble.
Right.
And all of those managers are important, but none as important to me as that basketball.
Okay. And it's fascinating because the way I went football, not only for attitude, but preparation during the week.
Oh, sure.
Direction of the program, calling certain plays. And for that, I gave football the nod. Basketball and hockey, in my mind, yes, you line up plays and you have plays drawn up out of timeouts, things like that. But by and large, it's the guys playing basketball. Guy sets a screen, yeah, you might have a play drawn up, but I would guess 90% of the time the guy's going to do something depending on what the defender does. Drive to the basket one time, step back for a three-point, go through another screen, pass across court, whatever that is. And so I see the players having a lot more say in like the right guard, the quarterback. They're not all of a sudden going to go, well,
I'm getting this guy.
Yeah, it's a handoff to Emmitt Smith. No, I'm going to keep it because I think I see something. I'm going to whatever, do something different. You call a play, you run the play, then it comes down to execution. Now, I've been told, and you're a good guy to talk to, that in hockey that there are plays.
Oh, absolutely.
It does not look like to a novice watcher of hockey that there's any rhyme or reason to what they do.
I sit there sometimes and pick my jaw up because it's so beautiful. It's so highly improvisational. And that's what you're saying basketball is, and I beg to differ because I think that that coach has to react to what the other coach is doing way more so. And that's what the nickel and dime game in football as well. But no head coach is doing all that like a basketball coach is. His D coordinator, O coordinator, his line coach, defensive back coach, special team coach. And so I see that more business-like. But it's a great subject matter discussion because every answer's right, I think.
I was going to say, there's no wrong answer.
I don't think there is.
No.
I don't think there is.
I would say in my mind, especially with the way baseball has gone now with DHs,
that they're the least.
That they'd be the fourth.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Because obviously, I guess you have some, lay down a bunt or give a steal sign or
but what MLB player can bunt? Give them a cricket bat. They can't get it on the ball.
Oh goodness!
That's why I'm a college baseball guy.
So you're saying NBA first.
That's how I feel about it.
Again, there's no wrong.
And then I would probably put hockey and football and then baseball.
Okay.
And I'm not discounting the importance of coaching or preparation in football. Let me ask, if you said this, the only football coaches that you could pick would be Parcells and Belichick, then football would be one. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because they were different. They were not, they delegated, but not very much.
Right. So it's fascinating.
Or Jimmy. I don't know enough about Jimmy.
Well, that's why when I think about it, I played under two really good coaches, two Hall of Fame coaches.
Jimmy and Marv,
and
completely different styles, right?
You could not think of two more opposite people.
Yeah, what a great experience that had to be.
And Marv is this nice guy, this quiet guy, tells Army stories and war stories. But this is what happened when we were in Buffalo. We worked harder in Buffalo my first couple of years there than I ever did in Dallas. We were there from 7:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. We met and practiced long and practiced again, and we were there forever. We worked hard. Not necessarily smart,
Okay.
but we worked hard.
Okay.
And then Marv Levy comes in. All right, midway through the 87 season.
Oh, so that was before Marv.
Yes.
Who
before
was
Marv.
that coach, may I
Well,
ask?
I can't remember the first. Kay Stevenson was my rookie coach.
Okay.
He lasted halfway
He
through
was
that.
a line guy, maybe?
He was there the first half of my rookie year.
Okay.
He gets fired. He gets blown. Went 2-14 my rookie year. The year before I got there, they drafted me. Franchise changer that I am.
Of course.
We went 2-14 again, and then
Well, it takes 28 guys on a football field at once.
And,
What is that, 22?
Yeah, and so he gets fired, and they hire this next buffoon named Hank Bulla, who was a pretty good defensive coach.
Okay.
Didn't know his head from his rear end as far as being a head coach and direction of a franchise and all that. He's the only guy I got. The two stories jumped to mind. Number one, and you'll get a kick out of both these. He's the only guy in my life. My name, you can butcher it however you want to. And there's a lot of, okay, I can see where you get that.
Okay.
Bulla called me Hellstrom. Hellstrom. I said, I don't get that. There's
Never.
no M. There's no M.
Yeah, that's right.
You jumble everything else up.
A-L-E.
Yeah, jumble everything else up. I'm fine. I'll answer to it.
All right.
Hellstrom, come on, man. And the other thing about Hank Bulla, and this is kind of encompassing of what his coaching tenure was like. We're going to play Tampa in December. We're in Buffalo. We have an indoor practice facility, and we have the stadium where we practice when it's.
Don't say it.
We're going to Tampa. It's going to be 80 degrees.
Don't say
it's
you're
going to be 80
practicing
degrees.
outside.
We're sitting there on a Wednesday. We go to the bubble. No, we're going outside. It snowed a foot at the stadium during practice. And we're out there, and this guy, what he would do, we'd be there till 6 o'clock at night because he yapped and talked about nonsensical stuff. And he'd always call us up after this practice. But by halfway through the practice, I'm putting your hand down as a lineman, and snow's halfway up you're not getting anything done out there.
No, except shivering.
Yeah, and anyway, he calls us up after. Like, we're all like, send us to the locker room, give us your talk indoors. No, we're out there. He's yapping for about 10, 12 minutes. And somebody, and I never found out who, made a snowball. And what Hank would do would be smoking a cigar while he's talking to us. So he made a snowball, did one of these. And it hit him right in the face. Cigar went flying.
Did the whole team bust out laughing?
Everybody's trying, because he was trying to find out he was going to cut somebody.
Oh.
And so you're sitting there like you're in first grade trying to not laugh, and your body's shaking. I'm like, that summed up the Hank Bulla.
I have to know who did that. That dude had some huevos.
Yes, he did. And he didn't care. So
and he felt like He'd had enough.
Oh, it was crazy. And it was so bad under Hank Bulla.
Those are the stories we try and get from Dale that we don't often get, and they're just gems.
At the end of the year, our last game was a home game. We were 2-13 at that point.
Those are those
in
teams.
Buffalo. And I show up. It's my second year. And I pull in the players' parking lot. There's about 7 trucks that have U-Hauls attached to them. These players had already packed up, came to the game.
They're one step out.
They're already gone. Now, I had my stuff packed up because I was getting out, but I had no way am I going to bring a U-Haul.
That's
to
very
the
funny.
stadium.
Yeah, they're going to pack up and get the hell out of there.
And then Marv Levy, he coaches into the next year. He gets fired. Marv Levy comes in, and we go from 7:30 to 6 with Hank Bulla to 9 to 3 with Marv Levy. Team meeting was 10 minutes.
Organized, to the point,
boom,
businessman.
Doop, doop, doop. Meetings, lunch, practice, or walk through, practice, done at 3. And guess what? We went to
You responded.
we went to the AFC Championship game in 2 years. Now, we also got Jim Kelly back, which kind of helped.
So these years where you were just past Ferguson and not yet to Kelly
Right.
when that was happening.
Right. We had guys like Vince
I know
Ferragamo.
you had a bunch of guys
Yes.
who nobody knows.
No. And so I always think back to that. And then with Jimmy's obviously a kind of a slave driver. I mean, he's got his thumb on everything. And the reason, if you look at Jimmy, he had success really everywhere he's been. He struggled in Miami at the end of his career, and I think that's because Marino wasn't the type of quarterback that he wanted. Marino was older. Marino basically would give him the finger and say, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway.
Marino, not Marino.
Yeah, in Miami. Yeah.
Oh, in Miami Dolphins.
Excuse
me.
Miami
Yes.
At the end.
At the end, right.
Yeah,
That's because he had a boat down there.
Yes. And so, but he's got about a 5-year shelf life, the way that he coaches.
I would think. Okay.
And if you look at every stop, it was about 5
quickly
years.
Up
and then we got to say bye-bye.
Kind of like Torts, his style does it just there's a shelf life.
Yes, and so because that's what I've heard. I don't know Tortorello, but that's what I've heard.
And Belichick, he's the same guy.
People told me this year with the Vegas Knights, he was a little different.
Way different. He had been out of hockey a year and a half, wondering if he's ever going to get a chance again. Gets this chance. They drop championship team, players, organization in his lap, and all he had to do was tighten a screw and get out of the way.
Right.
And he'll be the first to tell you that's what he did, and look at how they're reacting. Now, there's a lot of hockey left to be played in this series.
Right.
It should be really good. Tort's going for immortality, trying to win a second cup, and then I'm sure he walks into the sunset. I think he wins and runs, and yet you got Brindamore, who's been knocking at the door for 5 years, getting so close, then he can't.
Right.
So I tend to still think it's going to be Carolina, but I say that I don't want you to run out and bet it because I say that with the comfort of knowing I'm winning either way. So it's water off a duck's back.
So that's interesting because that's the question I was going to ask you. You don't think that the Vegas entices Tortorello to stay around for another year or two?
Anything can happen, but I think it's,
Your thought again.
Where can Torts go with this team after winning a cup in the next year? I don't know. It'll be interesting to learn and see. I really try not to predict that stuff,
right?
Because in my own spheres of expertise, 38 and 31, that's about 55%. That means 45% I'm wrong,
right?
And when I talk about stuff I don't know about, I'm wrong even more. I don't like to be wrong too much.
And that's
why I leave home and come out and talk in a microphone.
Because your wife can't.
Because I'm always wrong at home.
I love it. All right, so we don't got anything on there. We're coming to the top of the hour. We will be heavy MMA in the second half of the show.
We could probably use a half-hour MMA.
Right, and then maybe at the end we come back to some other.
We got
sports
some College World Series to talk about too, so that'll fill a 20 minutes.
Yes, and again this year the College World Series, no repeat teams are going back. We already know it. It hasn't been decided yet.
We know there's going to be 8 teams, but not one will be from last year.
And
that means 16 regional teams, not one from last year, made it through.
And that's a unique thing, I would think.
Very unique, and it makes it much more difficult to handicap because for me, the process of winning teams that struggle in the Super and they get to the regional, then the next year the Super, then they get to Omaha. Boy, that team then finally gets to Omaha again. They kick that door in, and they have great advantage. They're not wide-eyed. They're not taking pictures next to the statue. They're there to win. And this year you're going to have 8 newbies, so it's going to really make it wide open.
They go to all the hot spots in Omaha. I know a lot of late-night dancing.
Oh, only if you're with Uncle Luke do you get the Backroads tour.
He's Uncle Luke, kind enough to come in earlier today to help fill in while Steve takes the day off. He's off on assignment. I'm Dale Hellestrae. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with all that and more in the second half of the show. Welcome back, second hour, the main event. I'm Dale Hellestrae, the eye candy of the show. He's Uncle Lou, the brains of the show. Obviously, just look at the screen. Brains, brawn, beauty. Steve is taking the day off.
And BS.
Hey, if I can't say it now, I can't say it at home either, Lou. So, because my wife knows me too well after 38 years of marriage. So, we're going to get into the gambling part of the show, and there is a lot to talk about because one is Uncle Lou's favorite times of the year. He looks forward to it all year long. He doesn't get into the college basketball tournament. He doesn't waste his time on a lot of things. He's very focused on what he does. And one of the things that he is focused on, I know it's because he loves it, but also from the great city of Omaha, Nebraska. By the way, for you people who have not heard before, Frank Kush recruited this dude at ASU out of freaking Omaha, and he didn't even send this guy a letter who grew up 10 minutes from Sun Devil Stadium. So how about them apples? Anyway, I digress. And he went to U of A on a football.
I've offered to exchange my letter from Frank Kush for just one of the 3 Super Bowl rings and have not received a response.
So we're going to get into it right now. The College World Series, will this start not this weekend, next weekend? Is that when the College World Series starts? Because Super Regionals this weekend.
Exactly. So last week, the regionals of 64 teams. Think of it just like the basketball tournament. And if you have a bracket everyone has their college basketball bracket, you got to have one for baseball. Works the exact same way. And so last week there were 64, and now we're down to 16. We're at the Sweet 16 Super Regionals. The format is 8 places host another team, and they play the best 2 or 3. You win 2, and you're on to Omaha, and you're in that 8. And the bracket continues where you are from regionals all the way to Omaha. And I keep mentioning this bracket because in order to appropriately bet College World Series and the NHL, these are bracketed tournaments. And if you don't know who people match up to, you can't effectively dodge really strong teams or pick on weak teams. You have to understand the bracket. It's foundational to the handicap. So,
but before you get into that,
yes, sir.
So the regular regionals, as you said, there's 16 host schools, and usually they're the highest seeded in their bracket of 4.
Right.
Now you come to super regionals.
Yep.
How do they choose the 8 host sites for super regionals? Is it
really
the
good
top
question?
8 seed, top 8 seed? You explain that.
Yes, and how do they pick the 16 that host the regionals? That comes straight from the rankings, which is also, if you go to the College World Series, NCAA.com, you see how they're ranked here. Oh, by the way, 7 of the top 16 are gone. Okay, so UCLA, number 1 ranked, gone. Georgia Tech, number 2 ranked, see you later. Florida gone, Nebraska gone, A&M gone. All the bets I made last week, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Gone. And so you really have to know. I know who is ranked. I know what opening numbers are. I know who's facing each other, and I have strong thoughts. Now, let's talk about last week. I posted my positions on the webpage last week. The results. You want to hold on that?
Yeah, well, let me do that because that's my bad. Kobe, can you put up Uncle Lou's website so you can talk a little bit about the mission and things that you have?
That's an infomercial. We'll do quick.
Yeah,
okay.
If you got that, Kobe, you can throw that up and let Lou talk about this.
Perfect. So this is who I am. This week, I just changed the blog to this week's fight. The important thing, keep it to the top, if you would, Kobe. Thank you. Is the band across the top. It tells you everything about me, the sports I work, the podcasts I do, which is 2 of them for the UFC. But the far right corner, San Xavier Mission's the oldest mission in the United States. It's located here in Arizona. They're doing great work. And Steve and Dale always let me talk about that here because I'm really I'm trying to be an ambassador to drive attention and potential contributions their way. Gamblu is a regular contributor. We invite you to as well. If you scroll down far enough, there's a link right to the mission that you could access. Thanks for letting me do that. Now, if you go back to the home page, guys, and let's go to the Gamblu homepage if you can get back to that. There, you got me.
That might be a little questionable.
Listen, it isn't a big deal, but my bets are all listed there. If you want my NCAA college baseball bets, you go to the College World Series tab. You got to put in an email and some info. There's no charge. You won't get charged, but you got to put emails in to register, and then you can see everything I've done. But I can give you a synopsis of what happened in the regionals. I made a bunch of little half-unit bets because I know that the regionals, there can be some surprises. Well, oh boy, were there some surprises. So in bets to win the regional, now there were 16 brackets of 4. I took 4 teams, 0-4, so I lose 2 units there. Then to make it to Omaha, that's another market, meaning they have to win the first weekend, then they got to win their super regional. I made 4 of those half-unit bets, and I lost 3 of those. Those are gone. So there is, what's that, 1, 2, 3.5 units in those bets that are losers. The one, Mississippi State, is priced the same. They play Georgia in their bracket. Should Mississippi State go to Omaha, I'll win that one. So one of those 8 is still alive.
Right.
Okay, so I go 0 for 8 there.
And by the way, those picks that you made, I've always known you as to kind of be an underdog guy. You look for the price to be on your side.
Everyone was plus price.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone was plus price. Nebraska plus 110, Arkansas plus 145, Oak State plus 150, Southern Miss plus 100. Loser. Florida State, loser, plus 110. Florida plus 110. Mississippi State plus 115. Hey, you know what? I don't dodge it, but it's a long tournament, and I'm not done yet. And I play half units for a reason because this has happened to me before. So my future bets, and besides Mississippi State, that still exist, Texas at 15-1, and they're one of the chalks of the tournament. North Carolina, the chalk of the tournament, 22-1. So I'm not out of it yet. Now we go into these super regionals, and we got to figure out, there's all kinds of decimation. That said, of the 16 teams playing in the super regionals, 7 are SEC. It just so happens that 2 of them play each other. Ole Miss Mississippi State plays Georgia. Ole Miss plays Auburn. So only one can come through that, but 2 SEC teams are going to Omaha for sure.
Right.
And I've been high on SEC teams. So the super regional round is important. It's coming up. I will probably make 1 or 2 bets to win the super regional, meaning a series bet. Those will come out on Friday morning. They'll go to the Gamblu webpage, and if you put your email in, you can see what those are. I tabulate the results and post them all there. Same thing with hockey. Tonight you'll see a hockey pick. You'll see all my results. Everything's done up to date and accounted for. So the College World Series, let's talk about how that's going to work now, because you got some crazy stuff. Mississippi State and Georgia, 2 of the top teams. Georgia is the top remaining seed left, and Mississippi State 14th. It's a really closely lined game because Georgia's missing a couple players. Georgia plays monster ball. They hit a lot of home runs, and they're hard to deal with, especially in Georgia, because the field isn't huge. Georgia's a team that more than likely gets there, but when they get there, they're not going to have a lot of success there. Why? Because monster ball don't work in Omaha. It sits in a hole, the wind blows in, and if you get there by hitting home runs, you're going to die there. And that's what I predict for Georgia. Mississippi State, on the other hand, has a coach that's been to Omaha plenty. In fact, he played for Creighton when Creighton went to the College World Series 25, 30 years ago when I was young and able to attend those events every year. He's now gone to Mississippi State, brought in pitching. And if Mississippi State can slip Georgia in that first game when those 2 players are out because of suspension, they could win this series. And I'm thinking they can. I'm hoping they do. because we got them. But other teams that I think are dangerous, North Carolina plays Southern Cal. Southern Cal has a couple good pitchers, but North Carolina made it to super regionals last year. Arizona came in and pulled the rug out from under them. I think North Carolina is not only a team that can get to Omaha, I think when they get there, they have the arms and the balanced hitting to win in Omaha. I would point people to North Carolina if you're trying to get to that final series. Now, you want some long bombs? I'm going to take you to the other two brackets, and I'm going to talk to you about Troy against Little Rock. This team,
Troy is in a super regional.
Troy,
University of Troy.
Troy, in the middle of is that Georgia? Yes, it's in the middle of Georgia.
Okay.
And all they did all year was play the SEC and the ACC, and they got the brains beat out. Their record is 39-30 kind of thing.
Okay.
These dudes are young, they're fast, they're well coached, they're not afraid, and they want to prove themselves, and they get a draw like Little Rock, and Little Rock comes in with a lot of momentum after beating Southern Miss in their regional, but they maybe had the easier path in. Troy is minus 350 to win their region and go to Omaha, but more importantly, they're 45-1 to win it all. I may have to find a way to get involved with Troy, and it may be just a little half unit bet to win it all because they're in a division. Cal Poly plays West Virginia. Little Rock plays Troy. That's a weak division where West Virginia should skate through. Now, the other consideration in here, I took Troy. The other consideration is West Virginia. West Virginia is 10-1 to win the College World Series. And they're the team in that bracket right there that probably has the best momentum, the best pedigree. They come from ACC. They have the prescription to be very dangerous. And if they get to Omaha, one of 8 teams at 10-1, they could find some success.
Well, they also have the best fight song when they win this. When
they sing that song. And the guy on Friday mornings, I'm on VSiN with Dave Jensen, ex-Vanderbilt pitcher, and Jensen Lewis and Dave Ross on the VSiN network, and Jensen Lewis will be calling the West Virginia Regional on TV. So there's a little plug from my boy Jensen. So West Virginia or Troy, depends your level of risk. Those are pretty live dogs. I think Alabama sets up well in the other top bracket because they have Kansas, Oklahoma, and St. John's, all teams that are kind of surprising to be there, but good, solid teams.
St. John's is a basketball school, Lou.
Yeah, and that's Alabama's first draw. So Alabama currently priced 16-1 to win the College World Series. I could see, Alabama and West Virginia kind of having an easy way into being one of the final 8 teams.
Okay. Again, there's so many of these things. Like, I used to go to horse races, and I'd listen to old dogs like Lou, and the 1 and the 3, they're fast starters, so then they pinch off number 2, and number 2, who's the fastest, but he's a slow starter, and
he's a closer. Well, here's the difference. I'm picking between Troy and Little Rock. I'm picking between North Carolina and Southern Cal, and my hands are full.
Yeah.
But in a horse race, you can give me 12 horses and say, pick me a winner. Uncle Louie is going to say, I ain't your man. Nobody wins at horses.
I'm going to say which one pooped last before he got into the gate. That's who I'm picking because he's light on his feet.
You're probably as accurate as I am with whatever handicapping method I use.
I got a question for you about the Super Regionals. So they don't announce the sites of the Super Regionals till after the Regionals.
No, they announced the sites of the regionals based by ranking, the top 16. And they do it by ranking again. And so the reason Troy is able to host a regional is because everyone ranked above them, Virginia, Southern Miss, Florida, and Miami, are all gone. And so Troy's like, and here's the thing with Troy, there's risk. The risk with Troy is they've been the guys that have been the underdog all year long. Nobody respects us. We're going to show them. Now they're going to waltz in to a home regional after never being there before as the favorite. And so for that reason, there's some risk with Troy and Little Rock. I have to steer you, I think, in that bracket to West Virginia, who could be a handful.
Okay.
10-1 to win the College World Series. Not a bad price.
One other question before we move on to the UFC. It seemed like there are a lot of players who got kicked out of games last weekend.
Yes.
Is that a problem in your mind? Do you I know the best player in ASU got tossed because
threw a helmet or a bat or something. Yeah.
Good trend, bad trend, not a trend at all. It just happened last weekend.
The trend of the umpires making it about them, and I hate it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just wondering.
Let the kids play. Kid throws a helmet. Get the heck out of here. Come on.
In this situation, I got to understand.
And it kills Georgia 2 suspensions into this first game.
Okay.
It just kills them.
Right. And I promise you one thing. I've gotten to like a few officials better over the years as I've gotten older, but I would never put any money down to go watch an umpire a game. Or a basketball official officiate a basketball game.
But we track umpire results, and there's over-unders, and there's guys that in baseball umpires that they start and they're 65% to the over,
right? Or
the home team or the road team. I mean, they keep
really
those stats. The NFL crews, they keep the stats of the NFL crews. That's all analytics
crazy.
Driven that you can research.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So you say it's a good card this week. I'm going to allow you to take it away as your segment. We'll do a few of your favorite fights. We'll take a break, come back, and I don't know if you're going to do it as you and Steve do, kind of move up the card, or if you got 5, 6, 7 fights that you want to talk about. I will allow you to do it the way Uncle Lou would like to do it. And unless there's a Smith or a Jones fighting, I don't want to try and pronounce their name.
No, I wouldn't worry about that. The only thing I have to get to is all the updated lines, if I may.
Well, where is the fight this weekend?
This week we're fighting at the UFC Apex. And so when we fight at the UFC Apex, what we got to understand is we're going to be in the smaller cage, which is we're in the smaller cage, 25-foot cage. It's considerably smaller than the 30-foot cage that you have when the UFC travels or does a pay-per-view.
Why do they do that?
Because the Apex is a small warehouse facility that is owned by the UFC, and a smaller cage allows them to put minimal seating in. Now, they just expanded that UFC facility. It's called the Meta Apex now because they got a big sponsor. They added some seating, but there's still only 150 people go watch those fights. And so the fighters hate it. Yeah. The cards tend to be populated with more obscure fighters and much lighter fighters. In fact, in this fight card, there's 12 bouts. 7 of the 12 are at 120, 115, 125, and 135. So little teeny people going to be fighting. You know what that means? Boredom. A lot of decisions. Go make a sandwich. There's 3 fights at 170 or greater, and it's becoming clear that the Apex facility is going to be used to get guys some contracted fights, put some matchups together. They make great profit, even though the ratings may dip because the fights are not as compelling as numbered events. Or next week, the UFC at the White House is going to be a monster card. And so that's kind of how it goes. And so with more obscure fighters, there can be more questions. There can be more unknown just because you don't know a lot of the fighters. And even that's the case for me. There's a ladies fight, Chavez against Dubin here. I'll watch and take notes because I don't really know a lot about either fighter. In my opinion, I'm tracking about 703 athletes in the UFC right now. That's about 140 too many. There's a lot of talented mixed martial artists that are in the UFC that I don't believe belong, but the UFC has yet to come to me and ask about programming and strategy, and so I'll just sit here and tell you what I think about it. But these Apex cards can be tough. So let's talk about some of the fights on the undercard.
By the way, out of 740 fighters, So you're telling me there's a lot of Hellestraes in there that you just don't need to be
I haven't
following.
found a Hellestrae just yet. But maybe, I mean, I'm looking at the year 2038, and there's a Graham Hellestrae.
Graham.
Oh, no, what's Graham's last name?
Stockwell.
Yeah, there's a Stockwell on the database.
Graham will be gently nudged away from
Graham's
from
going to
USC.
MIT. He ain't going to no UFC, baby. Okay, so let's talk about a couple fights. Here's one at 125 pounds. Alejandro Costa from Mexico against a guy named Schnell, who's a submission guy from the United States. No real travel here. Mexico these guys train in Guadalajara, so to get to Vegas, it's easy. There's no big deal here except for that Alejandro Costa is a killer, and Matt Schnell is a nail. Schnell is chinny. He gets knocked out. This fight's only on the card for one reason, for everybody to watch Matt Schnell get completely iced. And that's what's going to happen. Costa's going to annihilate him. Next fight, 205 pounds. You got an Australian kid coming in named Tafa, not very good at all. Talk about nails. And he opens minus 260 in his fight against this Polish kid named Baranowski. This kid Baranowski is, I talked about him here on the show before, and I'm going to be as delicate as I can. He's a short, squat Polish fighter that is unbelievably powerful. Literally, you can hit him in the head with a baseball bat, and he'll barely blink. He has a granite beard, and he's a highly decorated judo guy. This guy is scary. And when you look at him, it's weird because in the placement of his head, his ears are at his jaws. He looks alien-ish. And you'll know him when you see him if you watch him fight, and you got to stop what you're doing to watch this fight because he's a killer. This dude's a killer. He's 2 or 3-0 in the UFC, and they keep giving him guys to stand in front of him. If I'm tough, I'm running. I mean, I'm running out the door, into the car, and out of the parking lot. This dude is scary, this Baranowski. And anyway, he's gone from an underdog, okay? The other guy opens 260. Oh, no. Now Baranowski's minus 3.25. Well, the market saw that and laughed and said, well, give me as much Baranowski as an underdog as we can, because they know one thing, too. He's going to kill this guy. So we got a couple fights right out of the gate here where you're going to have some violence.
So tell me this Baranowski guy.
Yes, sir.
He's a Polish guy.
Yes, sir. He's white as snow.
Why is he fighting an undercard if he's this much of a killer?
Because once he mops the floor with this guy, he's not going to be on the undercard much anymore.
Okay.
When you finish and you're violent, you're on the fast track, baby.
Okay.
I don't care what you look like.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And the ears aren't going to hamper him from moving up the ladder.
No, they're gonna help him catch wind and
Like
plane up. I'm telling you. And they're teeny ears. I'm telling you.
You got to watch it to look at the kid.
Then you got a ladies' fight. Chelsea Chandler against Beche Cachoeira, a Brazilian brawler that likes long, lean, likes to strike, not much ground game, against a gal who probably ain't going to make weight. This Chelsea Chandler hasn't fought in a while, has trouble making 35, and she's kind of a big, plodding, slow grappler wrestler. And so she's going to be coming like Frankenstein at Cachoeira, and Cachoeira going to be trying to tap and 1-2 her and knee her, etc. Strike her against grappler. If it goes to the ground, Chandler will have advantage, and if it stays standing, Cachoeira could ice her. It'll be interesting to see weigh-ins here. I want to see what Chandler looks like. She hasn't fought in a while. Interesting fight. A lot of this one opened Chandler minus 175. Now she's minus 120. So there's a lot of money coming in on the Brazilian Cachoeira. I'd be interested in Chandler if she comes out early, makes weight, looks good. Maybe. We'll see.
Explain real quick to the listeners, because I don't get to listen to you every week, obviously, and I know you talk about it periodically, but we probably have new listeners every week or viewers. Talk about the importance of you watching the weigh-ins and how much importance you put on, hey, the dude just walks out there, so the weigh-in started at 8 o'clock, at 8:02, you walk out, you weigh in, we're good to go versus
Those are your professionals.
versus,
Those are businessmen.
Versus walking out at 9:59.
Yeah, right. A minute before.
Yeah.
And then you walk out at 9:59 and you make weight. It's like, okay, this guy's a pro, but he's been fighting his cut all morning, and the other guy's eating bananas and drinking orange juice. He not weighed in at 8:02.
Okay.
Or they come in at 9:59 and they miss weight by a pound. At least he's trying to be a professional and cut it.
Right.
However, when you come out 10 minutes after the weigh-in start at 7, you come in at 7:12 and you're 4 pounds over, you're simply cheating. What you're saying is, I'm willing to give up 20% or 30% of my purse to the other guy in order for me to hold advantage. If I'm a wrestler and I don't have to cut that last weight, he did. He's depleted. He has to recover, and I got the advantage being the bigger guy, and I'll be able to take him down. If I'm a striker fighting a wrestler and I miss weight, it's like, I need that extra weight to help keep me up because he's going to try and take me down. Either way, it's cheating, and I don't put up with it. I call him out on it. But I watch the weigh-ins to see who's cheating because I don't want to be on the side of the guy that ain't cheating, and I don't want to be – I'm usually critical of the guy that is cheating. And so I call it to attention. I look at weigh-ins to gain advantage. My podcasts don't come out on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not after hits. I don't sell swag. I'm not giving away coffee cups. I am a gambling podcast, and I wait until the weigh-ins to get all the data done. Then I put my podcast out, and whoever wants to listen can. I don't give two hoots about how many numbers there are and who listens. I will say that I know what my numbers are, and I know where my listeners are from, and I'm greatly flattered by the amount of listeners that tune into my podcast and where they're from. It's highly international. It's flattering as hell. What it tells me is that there are 250 to 315 people that are totally committed to understanding gambling on the UFC in the world, because those people are who listen to me. You're not listening to me just for poops and grins.
So my question to you is, how does that work when a wrestler comes in or a fighter comes in and they're 3 pounds overweight?
Yeah,
and so I still want to fight.
Yeah.
So let's role play.
Sure.
I come in 3 pounds overweight.
Right.
And whether I tried or I didn't try, 3 pounds overweight. But Lou, I still want to fight you.
Yeah, sure. I know you do.
Is it okay? 20% of the pot.
It's
is
20
that negotiation?
Between the camps.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, UFC, he missed weight. I want 20%. He agrees to 20%. It's 20%. Well, if it's a higher profile, big, worse kind of weight cut, then maybe 30%.
Okay.
But one thing we know is the UFC scheduled this fight in Paramount, and they want the fight to go on. So if I say, oh, no, I ain't fighting him, he missed weight, the UFC says, okay, great. We'll talk to you in about 2 years.
Is that was my last question.
Guaranteed.
Really?
Absolutely.
So you got to fight the dude, even though
you got to do what Daddy tells you to do, bro.
Okay.
That's what you got to do.
You mean there's no collective bargaining agreement with the UFC?
You beat me to it. That's how it goes, okay? Wow. There's a kid fighting on the card this week. We'll get to him, Marcus McGee out of the MMA lab. Last fight against champion Peter Yan. Took him to decision, close fight. He lost a close decision. That was a year and a half ago. Guy can't find a fight. Now they give him some stiff that he's going to absolutely assassinate because he's so frustrated. The UFC is a monopoly that does what they want, and because the fighters are not represented, right, they have no power to do anything except say yes or get stiff-armed. Okay, so let's talk about another fight. Here's another women's fight. Ketlin Souza against young gal, I think it's Angela Carnelosi, both Brazilians. So two Brazilian girls flying up to Vegas to fight in the Apex against each other. They're both small. They're both tiny. They're 115 pounds. This thing will be a pillow fight between 3-year-olds. Go get a sandwich while this fight's going on. Ketlin Souza is a minus 285 favorite, and she'll win the fight more than likely in the second or third round if she doesn't take a decision. Then we get to 135-pound men. We got Marcus McGee, a great young man and a talented young fighter, fighting this gentleman, Giannis, another U.S. fighter. Giannis is 5 years the younger man, gives him some advantage. He's a lefty. But Marcus McGee is a legitimate top 13 athlete in the division. He's a little bit frustrated about his situation. I look for him. This would be a fight with McGee minus 520. Well, it's hard to bet that unless you're going to play parlays. I won't do that. But McGee inside the distance, McGee KO, that could be something I'd be interested in because he's going to show well. He's frustrated and he's going to show well. Then you got a really great fight to close out the undercard. A Brazilian named Joanderson Brito, who's a maniac, a half Tasmanian devil, half emo Baranowski, whack. And he going to come in power, speed, quickness. At 145 pounds, he's going to fight this guy named Jordan Levitt. Levitt used to fight at 155, and everybody would, he'd fight and weigh 163. And everybody, when they weigh in at 155, fights at 170, 173. So he's always the smaller guy. So he's like, hey, I'm tired of fighting these huge guys.
Right.
I'm going to cut to 145, and I'm going to be the big guy. Well, he did that his last fight, and he dominated and had success with it. Now he's got some momentum, he believes. He's a odd, quirky, unique guy that you'd never guess would be a mixed martial artist. He can't punch through wet tissue because he's not a striker, but he'll submit you whether he gets your arm, your ankle, your shoulder, or your leg. He'll submit you and put you to sleep. The dude is amazing. And so he's going to try and get Brito on the ground, and if he does, he's going to viper him and wrap him up and choke him out. And if Brito keeps it standing, it's going to be U.S. versus Iraq, or Iran, I should say. One team going to be a target, and the other team going to just be freaking unleashing. And Brito will be the unleasher. So where this fight takes place will be who wins. Levitt has to get it against the cage, then on the floor. Brito can't let that happen.
And as you and we'll take a short break because it's bottom hour. Then you can go to the top.
Great.
You
have to keep me online with it.
No, that's fine. How do you, as a gambler? You're not called a gambler. What do you call yourself?
I'm a handicapper.
Handicapper. Okay. A handicapper.
Some guys call me a bull roar specialist.
How do you try to figure out who's going to
have their way,
their dominance? How do you decide, is it going to be on the floor or is it going to be stand up?
Yeah, and so the analytics guys, the guys that don't have 40 years in the fight game like me, the best way to learn a lot is to pull analytics, and you can see, well, this guy has 7 strikes a minute, and he has no takedown defense. And this guy has 10 takedowns a minute, but he doesn't strike. So we know that this is what this guy does. And so you can look at the numbers. But the art of handicapping fights is to understand when I get a tall, slim, Iceland submission specialist, and he's fighting a short, fat, squat Ugandan striker, how is that fight going to go? What's my projection for what those two guys have, how they fought, where they come from, how many UFC fights they have, and what's going to happen when they fight? That is what I love to do. That's why I track these guys. That's why I do all this. And every opinion I make here comes as the result of me trying to project what I feel in each one of these fights. And if I can't really project, or I don't have to, I got 12 fights here. I'm going to bet 3-4 of them, and so I can shoot with a rifle, not a shotgun.
You know, it's fascinating about that, and we'll go to break right after this. Like when I played with the Cowboys, we were really good for a long time.
Long time.
You watch film. You usually watch the 3 previous games. So we're playing the Cardinals. You watch their defensive tackle or the defensive end and what they do and their moves and their stance and how hard they play. And then when you actually play them, they're at a different speed than what you saw on film because they're playing the Cowboys.
Yes.
There's different levels. Like
you're the hunter, especially. You weren't just the Cowboys, because the Cowboys get it just because they're the Cowboys today.
Right.
Back then, you were the 2 and 3-time Super Bowl champion Cowboys.
Right.
You got ratcheted effort.
We got the best effort. And it was always fascinating.
Every week.
You go in halftime going, that's not the dude I saw on film.
No, because they've been blowing smoke up his rear all week. You better go get that Hellestrae's rear.
Yeah, I like it. He's Uncle Lou. We've got the main card to talk about on the other side of this. This is the main event. Let me see here. We got Lou is a prognosticator, according to Rob.
I'll live with that. Thanks, Robert.
All right. You call him a lot of things, just don't call him late for dinner.
That's right.
I'm Dale Hellestrae. He's Uncle Lou. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back, Dale Hellestrae, Uncle Lou. It's the main event. Steve will be back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, and I'm sure that the Money Show will be on before that, so make sure you tune back in tomorrow morning. I love, for the first time, I fought having Lou on one of my first radio programs. I'm not much of a gambler. I dabble here and there. And Dave Nash is the first guy. I said, we got to get this guy on here. And this bald-headed guy walks in, and I didn't think he had much of a personality.
I thought I rolled in cow manure before I came into the station.
I was like, what are we doing with this?
We're gonna
do a whole half hour with
this fly.
Yeah. And then I find out he gets recruited by ASU and I don't. And it was over.
Yes, it was over.
And I don't know. It's been 10, 12, 14 years.
Maybe.
Could come to love this guy. I love some of his terminology. When he said balsa wood beak one time, that I forgot what I had for breakfast this morning. I still remember balsa wood beak. And he's got all this terminology that is just so entertaining. He knows what he's doing. He's brilliant at it. And unlike, at least from what some of the other people I talk to, he's honest. He tells you when he loses, tells you when he wins. He doesn't just post wins. So that's why we love him. Plus,
I'd love to, but there's karma too.
Yeah.
You know what? If I'm going to go out and vomit everywhere, eventually somebody's going to vomit on me. I just soon keep it real. And I'll tell you another thing. Not a lot of guys will come on and say, yeah, I just went 0-9 in the regional.
Right. And the other thing about Lewis, he'll sit here and he can talk. You know, I see some of these guys where I'll flip through the station and the price is plus 145, and I will take Joe and Jim and John, and Lou's got some personality to him, and he's entertaining.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. There's a lot of newbies, a lot of experts. It's funny to watch, and you talk about my vernacular, and I grew up with Muhammad Ali. When I was a sixth grade kid listening on a brand new clock radio to Ali Frazier 1. I was hooked and immediately gravitated to Angelo Dundee, the trainer to Ali, an Italian guy who has written books, and I've consumed them for his quips and his style. Oh, boy, that guy's got no power. His punches are weaker than 3-day-old ginger ale.
Yeah.
That's all Angelo Dundee. And all I try and do as a disciple, and that's me calling myself one, not have earned it, is to try and bring that level of old world fights from the 60s and 70s into today, because I am not your typical mixed martial arts or UFC handicapper. That demographic is 12 to 33, And
You're older.
and
You're
I'm
older.
a little,
You're older.
I'm a little outside that, believe it or not.
Okay.
I know it's hard to tell on the air. I'm a little outside that age group. But I'll be honest with you, I'm good at what I do, and if I wasn't, I wouldn't be where I am. And so a lot of times we'll nail these and hit them right on the head. Sometimes, again, I'll come in the next week and think this young man I mentioned, Della Maddalena, a month or 6 weeks ago, this one's still smarting me. I picked him in a fight against Prates, and you would have thought I've never handicapped a fight in my life. I missed this so bad. This Jack Della Maddalena almost wet his pants. He was so scared. And I did wet my pants when I looked at his face in the first round. I knew I was cooked. So sometimes it can be frustrating, and you don't think about it sometimes, and you win everything, and it's just easy. And sometimes you can't do anything to get one right. It's not easy business. There's a lot of stress, but it's really fun and rewarding.
I got 2 questions for you because I was out having a few pops with a few of my buddies. This was 2 nights ago. And Frazier, it was the 10th anniversary, I think, of Muhammad Ali passing away.
Okay.
Recently. And we're talking. Ali, Frazier, who were you? Who were you behind? And I distinctly remember being a Frazier guy.
Oh, white America was all Frazier.
And I still remember because of some of the things that Muhammad would call him, the way he would talk about him.
And the war thing.
Yeah. Okay, see, I was too young to understand that, but I know that he called Frazier some names and all that.
He was terrible to Joe.
And then I also loved the way Joe fought. I mean, he wasn't pretty, but he was brutal, and I know it took a toll on him. But when they fought, I was like, it might have been the first time I got into boxing, and I was all Frazier.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
And everybody at the table, there were 4 of us. I think there were 2 Frazier, 2 Ali.
Oh, I'm surprised it was that percentage.
Yeah.
Ali was threatening at the time. He was Ali as opposed to Cassius Clay.
Right.
He didn't want his slave name. He wanted his Muslim name. And so there were a lot of undertones.
Yeah.
And, of course, me being the contrarian, I was all Ali. And when Frazier beat him that night, I went to school, and they railed me.
Did they?
Oh, they railed me because I was just telling them, just forget about this fight. Forget about it. It's over.
Right.
So, you live and learn. But that's where it began. Yeah. And this is where it is, and I owe it all to me. I give all the credit to Ali and Angelo Dundee and Manny Stewart and Ray Arcel and all those old fight boxing guys.
And the other thing I know, I'm pretty sure I've never asked you. So you'll bet 3 or 4 of these fights. When something comes in, and I mean you handicap it perfectly. You go, this guy's a ground guy. This guy's a striker. I think the striker is going to take over the guy, and it goes to perfection.
Yes.
And you win.
Yes.
Do you enjoy that for a minute? Or you literally turn the page? I got 14 minutes before the next fight.
Yeah, I'd answer that like an NFL guy would, and that happened about 3 fights after Della Maddalena. I nailed one.
Yeah.
And the good news with the UFC is that there's 44, 46 cards a year. And so if I'm down in the dumps, I got a podcast on Sunday, so I'm not down in the dumps long because you got to turn the page and go to next week.
Right.
Whether you win or lose in NFL, you got to get up for the next game or stay up for the next game. And so it doesn't really, I don't have time. There's no gloating allowed anyway if you're really a professional. And so, yeah, how high's the high when you nail one? And about that high. And how low's the low when Della Maddalena talks? It's just about this high because I'm still talking about it. So those bother me.
So you don't tell your wife, hey, I hit this
she
one.
says,
I was perfect. Let's have some champagne, or we're going to open a nice glass of bottle of wine.
No, she just says, how'd you do in the fights? And I had a good night or I had a bad night. Okay.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we're marching, man, every week. Bang, 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 bang.
So you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Because the reason
high is not as high because you expect to be there. You prepare to win. That's what I do it for. But the low can be unbelievably low because you put in all this work. And, here's some guy over here, his first handicap, he goes 3-0, and I got Jack Della Maddalena. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Because I've had people ask this, I've done interviews and things, and I hated to lose
Oh, it's brutal.
more than I enjoyed.
That's why you're a
the
champion.
win.
That's why you're a champion.
And it was never more in stark contrast than when we won our first Super Bowl, 1992 Rose Bowl. Celebrate that night. It was fantastic. As a kid, you dream, you hope,
Right.
you pray.
Right. And there
we
you are.
did it.
Yeah. And then Emmett holds out.
And 3 days later, you're like, oh, we're 6 weeks behind on off-season training, and everybody's coming after us.
Now what?
And we got to go back to work.
Yes.
And it's like, no, the lost weeks were way, way, way worse than the win weeks that you're expected to win.
That's right. No, you guys did because you're professionals and you prepared to win.
Right.
And so you do it and then you win another one.
Yeah.
And this is the NFL, baby. It doesn't happen all the time. That's why guys on the Cardinals or the Browns or the Jets, you got unbelievably pedigreed, winning, world-class athletes, never lost at anything, go to one of those teams and talk about mental struggle.
I lost more games my rookie year in Buffalo by the first week in October than I lost in 4 years at SMU.
Oh, think of the mental.
You're in Buffalo. All right, let's get to the main card. We can come back and talk about that.
I love getting Dale in the NFL. Okay, so now we're on the main card. And we got some interesting fights. You got this kid, Bryce Mitchell, who is one of the most unusual dudes ever. He's a farmer from Arkansas. He picks up tractors and pigs and walks around one with one. And he's a 145-pound fighter. He's country strong. He's also less intelligent than a box of hammers. This dude here, and he talks a lot, and he's somewhat controversial. At the end of the day, he's a world-class grappler, but he can get touched. And when he gets touched, he can get wobbled. And he's been brutally knocked out in a couple of fights. He was supposed to fight one guy that fell out. And then they, trying to find him a fighter, they find him this young 23-year-old kid named Santiago Luna from Mexico to come in. And this Mexican's young, inexperienced. Mitchell's older, 31. And quite experienced. So there's a 10-year age gap here, 31 to 21. Normally 10-year age gap, hugely favorable to the younger fighter. In this case, maybe just a little because he's going to be so fast, so powerful, so swift foot that he could confound the 31-year-old. But the 31-year-old Mitchell has been in with a world-class mixed martial arts, has a wealth of experience over him. So there's the interest in the fight. Mitchell can be low IQ, but he's going to go out there and attack this Luna, and he has to get him to the ground and make it a somersault fest, because if he stands up, he's going to get iced. And I think Luna is going to be fast enough to use takedown defense, even though he's very inexperienced. He knows he beats Mitchell, and he gets catapulted. Plus, he took the fight on ultra short notice. UFC owes him one already. That's how they play. Hey, we need you. Are you there? Yep. Well, they pay that back. Hey, we need you. Are you there? No, I'm not taking that fight. Now you're 86th. Okay? So it's a quid pro quo.
That's interesting.
It's quid pro quo. Luna's playing his cards right. Should be a very interesting fight. And again, styles make fights. Striker, Mexican striker against an Arkansas grappler. Should be very, very interesting.
When you say farmer strong, I love that term.
Country strong, baby. I'm from Nebraska.
Reggie White was country strong.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
defensive end for Philadelphia and Green Bay Packers. Legend has it that he could bench press 225 pounds 5 times. That ain't much as an NFL 300-pound lineman.
But what could he do to offensive tackles?
But he could take 340-pound Larry Allen and hip throw him 5 yards in the air. That's what he could do. Yeah, he did it. Thanksgiving Day.
Larry Allen.
If you want to say Reggie White, Larry Allen, you Google it. Literally, he had this hump move, goes upfield 3 steps, you get your weight outside.
And just to use the momentum.
Yeah. Country strong.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because not too many people
are throwing Larry Allen.
No, not too many people beat Larry Allen. Okay, next fight. Here's a good one. Now we get Tom Nolan ship in from Australia. Long, tall, striker, tough, looking to keep his momentum going. He's a 155-pound fighter. And they bring him in against this guy Zayam from France. I don't like this Zayam. I don't know why. I've bet with him or against him. Doesn't matter. I lose every time. So I'm not betting this fight because I just don't know. But Zayam has hands, but he's really a good grappler. Nolan wants to keep it on the feet and strike. So this will be an interesting fight. Zayam maybe a little bit more well-rounded. Fight opens Zayam minus 185, take back plus 160 on Nolan. Now Zayam's minus 300, so they're betting him like there's no tomorrow. To me then, as we know how I play, it would be Nolan or pass. Can I do it? I don't know. Total in the fight's lined at 2.5 rounds. Let's just verify that. And the 2.5 rounds over minus 124. Yeah, I may look at the points handicap here because I think that this is a decision fight. And if it's close, a split decision or just one fighter wins 29-28 on all 3 cards, which would probably be Zayam, then Nolan plus 3.5 could have some value. That's maybe where I'll look in this fight. But again, I've had no luck with or against Zayam, so it's probably just a watch for me.
Real quick, one quick question. Undercards, are they 3 rounds?
All 3 rounds. All these fights are 3 rounds except the main event, which is always 5, and sometimes the co-main event will be 5.
Okay, so not all the main card, not every one of those 5 rounds.
No, everyone is 3.
Okay.
In every fight on every card, except the main event is always 5.
Okay.
And 5 is a little different cup of tea. So now we're going to go to 125 pounders. And we got Bruno Silva, who is a Brazilian grappler, decent hands, but 35, 36 now. He's jumped camps a couple times. That's always a little bit of a red flag. He was somewhere outside Arizona, went to Fight Ready. Fight Ready's just shrapneling away in Scottsdale, and their fighters are going elsewhere. And he's now at the MMA lab, which is, I'm a very good friend of the MMA lab.
Right.
So you get to see the guy train and everything, and he's good. He's fighting this skinny little Mexican named Edgar Chairez. Chairez, Mexican kid, so he doesn't have far to travel. Bruno doesn't have far to travel. No real travel here. But Chairez is 30, Bruno's 36. Chairez is 3 inches taller, going to have a 6-inch reach advantage, and he's a striker and he's motivated. I think this is a tall order for Bruno Silva. Silva's a small favorite, minus 120, minus 130. I'm seeing him here at minus 125. You can catch Chairez at a short plus number. I think that might be a interesting proposition to take. Fights are in Vegas. There'll be there's always heavy Mexican crowds in Phoenix and Vegas, and Chairez is Mexican, so he'll have the crowd. So I lean to Chairez there as a short underdog.
Explain real quick the jump and camp thing. Do kids jump camp because they don't like the coach? The coach works them too hard. I always go to football, and there's certain players who don't like a coach because he pushes them, and there's certain players who like to play for a player's coach.
Yes, player's coach. We know what that means.
Yes. I'm just curious, jumping camp, because to me that would be a huge deal as a fighter.
Well, again, you got to peel the banana back a little bit. Why they jump in camp? All right, this guy's 35. He went to the wrong place in Phoenix. They're falling apart. Now he's at another. So he's reacting a little bit, you know? And some guys go to 2 or 3 camps over 2 or 3 years because he came from Nebraska and he was fighting a bunch of country wrestling buddies from high school, and he needs better attention. So now he's going to go to Kansas City and step up to a bigger gym. Then he went to Florida, stepped up to a gym with 100 mixed martial artists in it, with every size, shape, and fight specialty. Well, that can't help but develop you then. Okay. So we got to know why they're moving and how they're moving. In this case, at 35 years old, moving gyms is unfortunate, and I just think it's going to be detrimental. Whereas Chairez is just going to come in and he's going to be taller, longer. Fights all start on the feet faster, and Chairez is motivated. I kind of like this Chairez kid. I love Mexican fighters. It's kind of my heritage. Okay, so now we're down to main event and co-main event, and these are where I have pretty strong opinions. Co-main event is a guy named Edmund Shabazian. He trains in Las Vegas, so he's right there at home. Long, tall striker. Came into the UFC with all kinds of hope because he was knocking guys the F out. And the problem with him is he can't spell wrestling, and so you take him down and you can have your way with him. So obviously he's been trying to develop wrestling and grappling, which is something that's hard to develop quickly. It takes years to develop that, and if you're going to go in against a guy that's been doing it since he was 8, then you're at a disadvantage.
I hated playing football against wrestlers.
Yeah, because they totally understood leverage and
I hated playing against
and how to play below. They're tough. All they do is run around in rubber suits and train all day. You don't want to fight that guy.
No.
So anyway, Shabazian is exposed, went off the feet. He's fighting a guy in Jared Allen, who's a world-class grappler, has decent hands, but he gets beat on the feet. Allen don't want to take on Shabazian on the feet. Because Shabazian, they're about the same reach. Shabazian's striking will be a little too much for Allen. Allen has no intention of fighting this fight on the feet. He's going to go out and tackle Shabazian, take him down. He's going to submit him. And I think that'll happen in the second or third round. Allen opens minus 350. I looked today, he's minus 205. There's a little money coming on Shabazian. That's great, making the price on Allen much better for me. So let me just say what we did in the Sneak Teep podcast this week.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, we made a release in the Sneak Teep podcast for last week's card where we gave Pavlovich minus 600, Song Yadong minus 600, and Alex Pereira in the White House card as a parlay. Well, we won the first 2 legs. We now hold Pereira for 2 units to win 3.4 units. All right? And he's a pick'em. So we got a guy at plus 160 that's a pick'em. Isn't that fun? Sure is. Let's make it funner. We're going to take Allen minus the 205, and we're going to parlay him with Gane. Gane? Who's Gane fighting? Pereira! What's Allen and Gane? Well, that's plus 180. 2 units wins us 360 in that one. If Allen wins this fight Saturday, we're going to walk into the White House card with one guy to win 3.4 and the other guy for 1 unit and the other guy with 1 unit to win 3.6. The way I look at it, I either won 2.4 or 3.6. I either won 2.4 if one guy wins or I won 2.6 if the other guy wins. And there's no risk.
So, in other words, you win-win.
It's a win-win. And it's the most competitive fight on the card. Everyone in the world going to want to watch it. No one has a clue who's going to win because Pereira's had to gain a bunch of weight. He's going from 205 to 246 to fight a legit heavyweight. And so there's some unknown there. Well, if there's enough unknown, why don't you just here's what I know. I know if Allen wins this fight on Saturday and he's a minus 200 favorite, that I just rattled off 2.4 or 2.6 units of profit. Thank you very much. And actually, because I have 2 units on each, it's 1.4 or 1.6 units of profit. Doesn't matter. I'm banking either way.
You're winning.
I'm winning either way. But we have to have Allen this week. So there's that. Now we go to the main fight, the 5-round fight, Brazilian Bonfim. There's 2 Bonfim brothers. They're both madmen. This younger Bonfim's taller, longer, heavier, fights at 170 pounds, welterweight, heavy hands, great knees, good jiu-jitsu, primarily a striker, but he's stepping up in class for this fight, and it's his first 5-round fight, I believe. And so this is a huge career maker for him. Bilal Muhammad's a former champion that fought Jack Della Maddalena like an imbecile, lost his title, then came out against Ian Gary, had vertigo, went on with the fight, looked terrible, hasn't fought in a couple years, 0-2 in his last few. It opens up Bonfim minus 150, and now you got Muhammad minus 120. So the favorite flipped here, and it flipped because Muhammad has been an ex-champ, he's been in with better, and he's got great experience in the UFC. He's also a world-class wrestler. World-class wrestlers, I've been taught by the sensei at the MMA lab, John Crouch, who, oh, by the way, is like a 5th-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. World-class wrestlers are kryptonite to world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I only took that from him because I believe him. I know the guy is it. I never come up with that. I wouldn't have thought that, but that's what it is. And I've come to watch these wrestlers. All they do is run around in rubber suits, practice all the time, cut all this weight. They never quit. And the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys used to some big, huge Frankenstein guy lurching at him, and they put him in an arm lock. All of a sudden, they choke him out, they get in their car, and they go home. But when they're in a real fight for 10, 12, 15 rounds and they know the other guy ain't going away, they curl up. Hey, I'm sorry to say it. It's just what I've been taught. And that's what's going to happen in this fight. Bonfim going to come out for 2 rounds and look like smoking Joe Frazier. He's going to be throwing and punching, and Muhammad is going to be trying to take him down, wrestle him, get in close, take him against the fence, and force him to use all his energy, keeping Muhammad off of him as opposed to being in distance, lighten him up. If Bonfim wins this fight, he knocks Bilal out in the first 2 rounds. If Bilal hears the bell to round 3, he's going to be out there with a paintbrush painting this dude's fence. And it won't be standing up. It'll be on the ground. He'll be elbowing him and roughing him up. The Brazilian will be on the bottom. Bilal will be on the top, raining damage. I put a 2-unit play on Bilal this week. I don't bet 2 units.
No,
plays,
you don't.
But I bet Bilal 2 units. That's on the webpage. It's been up all week. I like Bilal Muhammad a good deal in this fight.
And so you're not even waiting to see the weigh-ins tomorrow?
No, I've already taken Bilal. I know Bilal's making weight. Okay. If Bonfim tries something funny, I don't think it's going to matter. Okay. If he does, again, if he came in early and did it, I'd call him a cheater and I'd be pissed. But that's just going to infuriate Muhammad more. Okay. But Muhammad is driven. I think the best aspect to Bilal Muhammad's fight game is how strong his mind is. That's scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The mind
is a terrible thing to waste.
It's a terrible thing to waste, but if you got the mind,
he's got it, and that's the biggest edge in this fight is the mentality between these two.
It's amazing because, again, you throw that out, and I'm just, in my mind, I'm always thinking about other things while you're talking, and I'm like I was 38, 39 years old, and I was the 6th offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. And there are 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old guys coming in who can bench press this freaking house.
Right.
And run like the wind and all that. And somehow, some way, hey, Dale puts his head on the right side. Dale knows what he's doing.
Experience don't hurt. You know? Little savvy and experience. Yeah. You never heard of a wise young owl now, have you?
That is true. That's true. Well, Lou, I appreciate you coming in for the full show.
Thanks for having me.
You were early. I've kept you a little bit late. I know you got to go, so we're going to get out of here on time. He's Uncle Lou. I'm Dale Hellestrae. It's called The Main Event. Steve will be back tomorrow. We wish him luck in his travails today. I can't wait to hear about everything tomorrow. What goes on in Steve's life always keeps me alive. So good luck to Steve. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m.